Let me tell you about a guy named Arjun. Arjun is smart. He has a decent job, he pays his bills on time, and he's been meaning to start investing for years. Then one day in 2021, he hears everyone talking about a stock. His co-workers are talking about it, his cousin made money from it. It's on every news channel. So Arjun finally opens a brokerage account, puts in his savings, and buys in. 3 months later, the stock drops 40%. Arjun panics. He sells everything, takes a massive loss, swears off investing forever. Here's the crazy part: that stock, it recovered. 2 years later, it was back up and trading even higher than when Arjun bought it. Arjun didn't lose money because he was stupid. He didn't lose money because the market was rigged against him. Arjun lost money because of something happening entirely inside his own head. And the scariest thing, the same pattern is playing out right now with millions of people, probably including people you know. So today, we're going to break down the real reason people buy high and sell low, why it feels completely rational when you're doing it, and what's actually going on in your brain that makes this the most common and most expensive mistake in all of personal finance. Here's what most people believe about investing. They think successful investors are people who study charts, follow the news, and make smart, calculated decisions about when to buy and when to sell. They think the secret is information. If you just knew enough, you'd make the right moves. But here's a number that should stop you cold. Studies have consistently shown that the average retail investor, that's everyday people like you and me, earns significantly lower returns than the actual market itself. The market goes up, but the average investor doesn't capture those gains. Why? Because they keep getting in at the wrong time and getting out at the wrong time. They keep buying high and selling low. And this isn't rare. This isn't a beginner mistake that experienced investors grow out of. This pattern shows up across decades of data, across different countries, across bull markets and bear markets. It's universal, which tells you one thing very clearly: this is not an information problem, this is a psychology problem. So, what's actually happening inside the brain? Let's start with a concept called social proof. Your brain is wired, evolutionarily wired, to look at what other people are doing and use that as a signal for what you should do. This was incredibly useful thousands of years ago. If everyone in your tribe started running in one direction, you ran too. You didn't stop to ask questions. Stopping to ask questions could get you eaten. That instinct never left us, it just got redirected. Now, instead of watching which direction the tribe runs, we watch which direction money flows. When a stock or an asset starts going up, people talk about it. Articles get written, YouTube videos get made, your uncle brings it up at dinner. The more people talk about it, the more other people buy it. The more people buy it, the higher the price goes. The higher the price goes, the more people hear about it and want in. This is the cycle that pulls Arjun in. This is the cycle that pulls most people in. By the time something is popular enough for regular people to hear about it, the price has already gone up a lot. You're not getting in early. You're getting in after the people who got in early are already thinking about getting out. Now let's talk about the other side, the selling. Imagine you bought something and it starts dropping, maybe 10%. You're uncomfortable, but you hold on. Then 20%. Now you're genuinely worried. Then 30%. Now your brain is doing something called loss aversion, and it is not being kind to you. Loss aversion is one of the most well documented findings in behavioral economics. The psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky discovered that the pain of losing something feels about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the same thing. Losing 1,000 rupees feels worse than gaining 1,000 rupees feels good. The emotional experience is not balanced. Loss hits harder. So when your investment is down 30% and every day you watch it fall further, your brain is experiencing real emotional pain, not metaphorical pain, actual psychological distress. And what do humans do when they're in pain? They make it stop. Selling feels like relief. It feels like control. You're stopping the bleeding, you're doing something, and in that moment, selling feels like the smart, rational decision. But here's what's actually happening: markets go down. That's normal. That's always been normal. If you look at every major market crash in history, one thing is true about all of them: they recovered. The market dropped in 2008 and recovered. It dropped in 2020 and recovered faster than anyone expected. Short term pain has historically been followed by long term growth, but to benefit from that recovery, you have to still be in the market when it happens. And most people aren't. Most people sold at the bottom and then waited until everything looked safe and positive again before buying back in, which means they sold low and bought high again. There's a concept I want you to understand called the emotional market cycle. And once you see it, you'll see it everywhere. When an asset is at its lowest point, the mood around it is pure despair. Nobody is talking about it. Nobody wants it. The people who own it feel embarrassed. The news coverage is negative. Everything feels terrible. This is historically the best time to buy. When an asset is at its absolute peak, right before a crash, the mood is pure euphoria. Everyone is talking about it. It feels like easy money. New investors are pouring in daily. People are taking loans to invest. Friends are texting you about it. This is historically the worst time to buy. And here's the brutal irony: the very things that tell your brain it's safe to invest, popularity, rising prices, social proof, positive media coverage, those are the exact signals that mean the risk is highest. And the things that feel dangerous, falling prices, negative news, public skepticism, those are often the signals that the best opportunities exist. Your instincts are not just wrong about investing, they are almost perfectly backwards. There's another psychological layer here called the narrative bias. Human beings don't think in data, we think in stories. When an asset is going up, there is always a compelling story attached to it. A story about why this time is different, why this company will change the world, why this trend will only go up from here. These stories feel logical because they're built from real facts, but they're being told at a moment when the price already reflects extreme optimism. The story is what justifies the high price to late buyers. And when reality doesn't live up to the story, the price collapses and the people who bought the story are left holding the loss. So, what do you actually do with all of this? First, understand that you cannot think your way out of these biases. They're not logical flaws, they're emotional ones. You can't just decide to not feel loss aversion. What you can do is build a system that removes the decision making from the emotional moment. This is why successful long term investors often talk about strategies like systematic investing or what's commonly called Rupee cost averaging. The idea is simple. You decide in advance to invest a fixed amount at regular intervals every month, regardless of what the market is doing. Not when it feels right, not when the news is good. Every single month. When prices are high, your fixed amount buys fewer units. When prices are low, your fixed amount buys more units. You automatically buy more when things are cheap and less when things are expensive. You take the emotion completely out of the equation. The second thing is to shift your relationship with falling prices. This is genuinely difficult because it goes against every instinct you have, but try to practice thinking about a market drop the way you'd think about a sale at a store. If your favorite brand of shoes goes on sale for 40% off, you don't feel afraid to buy them. You think it's a good deal. A stock market drop is the same thing. The underlying businesses haven't disappeared. You're just getting the same ownership at a lower price. Third, and this might be the most important thing I tell you today, stop consuming financial news as a guide for when to buy and sell. Financial media is built on urgency and emotion. It needs you to feel like something important is always happening right now. That urgency is terrible for your financial decisions. The best investors in history are famous for being boring. They buy, they hold, they ignore the noise. Warren Buffett has a quote that cuts to the heart of all of this. He says the stock market is a device for transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient. Read that again. From the impatient to the patient. Arjun was impatient. The person who held through the drop and came out the other side was patient. Here's the thought I want to leave you with: the market doesn't take your money, your emotions do. Every time someone buys high, there's someone on the other side of that trade selling high. Every time someone sells low in a panic, there's someone on the other side buying low. The money doesn't disappear, it moves. It moves from people making emotionally driven decisions to people who have learned to sit still when every instinct is screaming at them to do something. The good news is that this is learnable. Unlike IQ or technical skill, the ability to understand your own emotional reactions and build systems around them is something anyone can develop. The investors who build real wealth over time are rarely the ones who made the smartest trades. They're the ones who made the fewest emotional mistakes. Arjun's story doesn't have to be your story. The market will go up, it will go down. People around you will panic. People around you will get greedy, and somewhere in the middle of all that noise, the quiet, boring, consistent investors will be slowly building something real. The question is which group you want to be in. If this helped you see investing differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to understand more about the psychology of money and how your brain is secretly shaping every financial decision you make, stick around.